Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. I'm Nicholas Richardson and this is the news. The session of the Parliamentary Commission on the Polish Supreme Audit Office is rather turbulent. The MPs are debating the motion of the President of the Supreme Audit Office, Marian Banaś, to dismiss 3 vice presidents of this institution. The motion also proposes the appointment of a new vice president to take over during the suspension of Marian Banaś, pending the examination by the Central Anti-Corruption Bureau of his declarations of assets.
This meeting of the Parliamentary Commission for State Control was quite turbulent. At the beginning, the opposition submitted a request to adjourn the meeting due to Marian Banaś's absence. This request was lost and the Commission began to give its opinion on the application that Marian Banaś submitted just before the start of his vacation. The application concerns the dismissal of 3 current vice presidents of the Supreme Audit Office and the appointment of 1 vice president in their place, specifically Małgorzata Motylow. As Marian Banaś wrote in the justification of this application, it is about changing the concept of functioning of the top management of the Supreme Audit Office. According to the opposition, this explanation is too laconic and the absence of the author of the application makes it impossible to ask for details. Another objection raised by the opposition is the opinion that Marian Banaś should not make any changes at the moment in the leadership of the Supreme Audit Office while doubts concerning him remain in society. The opposition also pointed out that according to the request of Marian Banaś, 1 person is to be the vice president of the Supreme Audit Office, while the law regulating the functioning of the Supreme Audit Office indicates that there must be 3 vice presidents.
This matter must be clarified, and currently ruling politicians will not do it. However, we can do it by voting on October 13th. I am convinced that it will be announced in the next 2 weeks that Marian Banaś went on vacation, suspended his deputy's activities, and so on. We say no. Immediate dismissal is needed. Some changes are necessary to the functioning of the Supreme Audit Office, and Marian Banaś proposed such a solution. Marian Banaś is a person who has several decades of service to the state behind him. These doubts that have recently arisen must be clarified, but there is no reason to speak of resignation.
During the regional election convention of the governing Law and Justice Party in Płock, the party leader, Jarosław Kaczyński, announced that over the next 4 years, PiS wishes to create a Polish version of the prosperity state. Kaczyński declared that his party's goal is to create the conditions in which Poles will be no worse off than their Western neighbours, and at the same time will be able to have an adequate level of comfort in various aspects of daily life.
We would like to begin a road to prosperity in Poland, conditions which, I think, are desirable for every citizen of Poland. A social situation which is proper. We want to create the Polish version of a prosperous state, which means creating conditions where Poles live no worse than their neighbouring Western counterparts. At the same time, our citizens will be assured an adequate level of comfort in various aspects of life. It is not only about what is in our wallets. Yes, this of course is important, but I am talking about other areas of everyday life, among others, transportation needs or cultural life.
According to a survey conducted by the Institute for Social Research Polster, the ruling Law and Justice Party has the greatest support of young voters. Ursula Rogała has more on why young Poles have these political preferences.
According to a poll conducted for Super Express by the Polster Research Institute, 50% of the youngest voters aged between 18 and 24 would vote for the Law and Justice Party. 16% of those surveyed in this age group would vote for the Civic Coalition, and 17% declared that they will vote for the left. The Polish Coalition would obtain 3% of the votes from this age group, and the Confederation 10%. The party led by Jarosław Kaczyński obtained a very similar result in the 25 to 44 age group. As many as 49% of respondents in this group support the government. The Civic Coalition in second place can count on the support of 23% of the respondents. The left is supported by 12% of people from this age group, the Polish Coalition by 6%, and the Confederation by 8%. According to Law and Justice politicians, young Poles have many reasons to vote for the Law and Justice Party.
Rośnie wynagrodzenie minimalne.
They appreciate that living conditions in Poland are getting better and better. The minimum compensation is growing, the salaries are higher, there are many more perspectives for young people.
A także w kraju.
Po pierwsze dlatego, że w naszym programie są
Firstly, it's because our program is concrete. Secondly, we implement what we promised. And thirdly, we have a very solid program for young people, especially for those who just started working. For instance, young people up to the age of 26 do not have to pay an income tax.
i cały szereg innych programów.
According to publicist Sebastian Gajewski, this survey shows that young Poles have the same preferences as the Polish society.
To, że jest tak wyraźne.
The fact that the Law and Justice Party has the greatest support is because there is no alternative project that would be based on changes.
Ogólnopolskich reprezentatywnych.
The survey was conducted between September 24th and 25th, 2019. The Polish parliamentary elections are due to take place in more than 2 weeks.
I say it's time to bring about Brexit or submit a motion of no confidence and finally face the voters. These are the words spoken yesterday by British Prime Minister Boris Johnson in his statement to the House of Commons. The Prime Minister's speech was interrupted several times by opposition MPs.
The people of this country can see perfectly clearly what is going on. They know that Parliament does not want to honour its promises to respect the referendum. Mr. Speaker, the truth is that members opposite are living in a fantasy world. They really imagine that somehow they are going to cancel. This is what they want to do. They're going to cancel the first referendum. They're going to legislate for a second referendum. And Parliament will promise that this time, perhaps not the lady opposite, but Parliament will promise that this time it really will respect that vote. A fantasy even greater than the communist fantasies peddled by the leader of the opposition. It will not happen. So if in fact the party opposite does not have confidence in the government, they will have a chance to prove it. They have until the House rises today to table a motion of no confidence in the government. And we can have that vote tomorrow. Or if any of the other parties, the smaller parties.
I thank the Prime Minister for an advance copy of his statement. Unfortunately, it was like his illegal shutting down of Parliament. Null, of no effect, and should be quashed. He says he wants a general election. It's very simple. If you want an election, if he wants an election, get an extension and let's have an election.
That's the news. Thank you for watching. Stay with us for the weather, Poland Daily Business and more programmes. But from me, it's have a good night and a better tomorrow.
I'm Alexandra Zarzycka and welcome to Poland Daily Weather. Let's take a look at the forecast for tonight. Rainy night ahead of us. Temperature will grow up a little to 13 degrees in Koszalin and Szczecin. On the south, temperature will range about 11-12 degrees. Sky will be an overcast in the whole country. Let's see the forecast for tomorrow. Temperature will range from 16 degrees in Białystok and Olsztyn to 19 degrees in Szczecin, Kraków and Wrocław. Rainfalls are expected in most regions. More sunlight will appear over Lublin and Białystok. Let's check the weather for the next days. On Saturday, temperature will range from 17 to 19 degrees. Showers are expected across Poland. Sunday will bring us more sunlight, which will appear in central Poland and on the south. On Monday, sky will be quite sunny but with rainfalls. Temperature will hover around 14 and 20 degrees. Thank you for watching and see you soon.
Poland Daily Business Edition. Tonight we are talking about Bitcoin and its whole digital future economy built on the blockchain technology. Our expert is Kamil Gancarz, chairman of the Blockchain Development Foundation. Sir, welcome to the show.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
And Bitcoin reached some maturity because only a few days ago we heard that it will be traded as a futures.
Mm-hmm. Actually, it used to be traded as a futures starting from December 2017 when CME introduced Bitcoin futures. But what was important about those futures, they were cash settlement. There are two types of futures, cash settlement and physical delivery. Cash settlement means where you have a contract and you go to expire, that contract expires, then you need to only settle the difference of the price of the contract compared to underlying asset. Underlying asset can be pork belly, for instance, or rice, or cocoa, or oil. So you have crude oil that cost this much, and future was, let's say, $10 less. So if you do the cash settlement and you were longing, going long with the future, then you need to, then you make $10 as a profit. So you get settled and you're receiving that $10 minus commissions. But if it's physical delivery and you bought that oil, you need to receive that crude oil. So you actually have a problem if you don't need that, because you need to establish the whole payment process for the whole crude, and you need to receive that, let's say, barrel of oil. So CME futures starting 2017 were cash settled, but in 23rd of September, the ICE Intercontinental Exchange, ICE US, US Stock Exchange, issue new contracts, and they starting to be traded. So we have new contracts, futures with the physical delivery. That changed a lot in the industry, because now financial institutions, banks, accredited investors can actually buy a future, and when it expires, they will receive bitcoins as blockchain coin.
Right.
So now it's the first point in time when it's easy and fully regulated access to Bitcoin for US financial institutions with all KYC in process, and everything is regulated. Even Bitcoin Warehouse, which was established by that exchange, they actually created new company called Bakkt. That issue is creating the service-backed warehouse and also backed futures.
Does it concern also other virtual currencies or only Bitcoin?
No, it's only for Bitcoin, those futures. Actually, I think the other cryptocurrencies are not so mature. I think there is only one second major cryptocurrency that financial institution invest, but not through this complicated regulated system. They just buy on the market. So on normal crypto exchanges, that other currency is called Ethereum. Ethereum is important because the algorithm, the whole blockchain, enables us to have smart contracts. And smart contracts, we can create tokenized entities, so we can actually tokenize and raise money for our company. Not going to stock exchange, we actually go to the blockchain market, we issue our token, and that token can represent the share in the company. So that's why Ethereum is also very important in the ecosystem, and that is also why financial institutions invest into that. But other cryptocurrencies are not so mature enough to be invested by professionals in financial industry.
We hear also a lot about banks and established financial institutions that are using maybe not necessarily blockchain, not necessarily Bitcoin, but a blockchain technology. And what are the benefits of using this distributed
ledger technology?
Yeah.
Great benefit is actually that we can omit monopolies. SWIFT, the system for international settlement of wire transfers, is monopoly. They were established in 1970, and if you want to make a wire transfer worldwide, basically banks use this system, and
it was a monopoly for a good reason, because you have to know and trust the institution and be sure that your funds will go to the designated account, not to someone who is faking it.
Okay, but we have central banks also that are government run by governments, so we can say why the club of central banks doesn't have their own system of international settlement. So we can ask this question, well, it should be privately owned. So now, actually, privately owned can be distributed ledger, can be way cheaper, 10, 20 times cheaper with the settlements. There is one system already in place called RippleNet, and there's also XRP, cryptocurrency. And the banks are using this system, this RippleNet, for settlements. Even if just a few days ago, a new bank from United Arab Emirates also joined the network. So we have Chinese banks, we have European banks, we have some American there. So even corporations are joining the network. So the blockchain is way cheaper because it's electronic transmission, which is almost at zero cost, but the reliability of the technology is imposed by an institution, is imposed by the technology itself. So the trust is already there. So that's the fundamental basis of blockchain. It's Internet of Trust.
As long as someone trusts internet. Kamil Gancarz, chairman of Blockchain Development Foundation, was our guest, sir. Thank you very much for this conversation. And that was it for tonight's Poland Daily Business.
Welcome back to Poland Daily Weather. Let's take a look at the forecast for tomorrow. Temperature will range from 16 degrees in Białystok and Olsztyn to 19 degrees in Szczecin, Kraków and Wrocław. Rainfalls are expected in most regions. More sunlight will appear over Białystok and Lublin. Now let's check the weather for our continent. On the south of Europe, temperature will rise. The highest temperature we will see in Athens and Madrid, 28 degrees. Warmer in Scandinavia, and there the temperature will range from 10 to 14 degrees. In Central Europe and on British Islands, more rainfalls are expected. Thank you for watching and goodbye.
Good day, everyone. My name is Maria Kądzielska, and this is Poland Daily Culture. Our today's guest is a very mysterious person. One say he's a Jewish agent or a member of a Masonic lodge. Another accuse him of controlling the politicians. Many dislike his friendship with Father Rydzyk. Ladies and gentlemen, the director of From the Depths Foundation, Johnny Daniels. But before we expose all Johnny's secrets, let's watch a few of his actions.
To be driving this taxi at last, here in Warszawa, here in Warsaw, Poland, is really the culmination of a dream. You know, we set out with this idea not that long ago, about 4 months ago, and to be able to make this happen so quickly and so effectively is down to incredible help that we received along the way. We received from the taxi firm from Farley Freeman in London, and to Chelsea Football Club and Avram Grant and Holocaust survivor Edward Mossberg. For all of these people who believed in us and believed in this process and believed in the idea and giving back. This is really the minimum that we could do as young people, as millennials, as third and fourth generation from those who survived the Holocaust.
Johnny, are you a Mossad agent?
Well, if I tell you, I mean, look, this is one question that too many people ask, if I'm a or imply that I'm some kind of agent of some kind of country. If it's not the Israelis, then it's the British or the Americans or the Russians. I've heard everything. I can tell you that I'm an agent of goodwill, and I'm someone who does what I do because I believe in it, and because I want to leave this world better than what I have, and I want to have my children experience better than what we have today.
Speaking about better, your foundation, From the Depths Foundation, takes care especially for righteous among the nation. Recently, the big thing you're still developing are taxis for the righteous. How does it work? In which cities are such kind of taxis?
Well, you know, we started this program, the Silent Hero Taxi Project, out of a real understanding of a need. You know, one of the things that there are many fantastic organizations who are doing great work in assisting and helping the righteous amongst the nations, right? So we'll start with that there are good people doing good things. However, there's always needs for more. And one thing that I very much felt when I'd go and visit with the Association of the Righteous here in their office in Warsaw was I'd see the righteous coming on buses and on trams in the cold weather, in the hot weather, and I really felt that something should be done about it. I went back to London to visit with my family, and my grandfather was a London taxi driver. He had his medallion, he was a proud cabbie. And my uncle is a taxi driver as well. And I was in my uncle's taxi looking about, seeing the different things, and I saw quite how brilliant it was. The London taxi is a remarkable thing. It's a real mobility vehicle. You're able to completely open the back doors. Wheelchairs can enter. It's a very comfortable car to be driven in. And I thought, what a great idea it would be to bring one of these taxis to Poland and have it as a vehicle to service the righteous. The idea progressed and developed. Since then, we've brought 4 taxis out here to Poland. We'll be bringing a 5th within the next few weeks as well. And right now, the service works here in Warsaw. We have over 70 hours a week where the taxis are being used, 7 days a week. The righteous call our hotline, ask us to be taken from A to B. Our drivers will come, pick them up and drop them off. And it's something that is so wonderful to be able to help these people on a very simple level of getting them from A to B and making their lives just a little bit easier.
So just to explain for our viewers, the taxis for the righteous among the nations are completely free and they can use it whenever they need during the week.
Correct. So whenever they need and however they need. You know, at the end of the day, these are people, these are remarkable people who risk their lives.
And very few of them right now.
Who risk their lives to save my Jewish brothers and sisters during the darkest, most difficult times. Not just their lives, but the lives of their family as well. And so for us to offer this service, and with no questions asked, they just call and we come and pick them up and they go wherever they want to go. And it's 100% free. We were funded initially with the help of Chelsea Football Club, a big other British institution, and with Holocaust survivor Edward Mossberg and other wonderful donors on the way. And this process is running and continuing and growing. We aim to be extending this to other cities, both in Poland and in other countries as well, over the next year. And this is something that I'm very, very proud that I'm able to do on a daily basis.
Well, that's incredible. Fingers crossed that it develops. You also started a project making interviews with righteous among the nations. So showing their faces, showing their stories. Of course, they were told many times, but interviews, video interviews, are quite rare. How did it work?
Well, I was surprised. I was surprised initially when I saw that, you know, again, there are great institutions doing great things, and there were recordings. There were some of the righteous had been recording, telling their stories. However, not all of them. And it really shocked me. It shocked me that there wasn't this mass database of recordings. And again, I have a small foundation. I don't have ginormous funds. I don't have huge donors that I can pick up the phone to and say, hey, please donate us this, this, and this. And so we always have to figure out unique ways to raise funds to do things. So even with this project, you know, one of the most difficult things in terms of an interview is the interviewer, right? Is finding a good person to do an interview isn't an easy thing. And to hire such a person is expensive. So what we did, which is, I think, incredibly unique, especially in terms of Poland today, and probably many other places as well, is that we were able to lean on our friends in the media to conduct the interviews. So, you know, we're very grateful that you conducted an interview, for an example, We're very grateful to our friends in Newsweek, in TVN, in TVP, in Gazeta Wyborcza, in Radio Maria. We had the entire spectrum.
Exactly, so everyone united.
Everyone united behind this one project, which is not political, it has no political stance or understanding or meaning or anything. This is a pure conversation and discussion, and we edit and cut these videos into the smallest segments possible because our generation aren't going to sit down and watch a 2-hour interview. It's not that interesting. It needs to be bite-sized, it needs to be shareable, it needs to have the potential to go viral potentially as well. So this is a project that we're just starting. We started with the Polish journalists. Over the next few months, we're going to be working with a complete spectrum of journalists from Israel that will be coming here to Poland and other places to interview other righteous. We are going to be doing an interview with one of the Muslim righteous in Albania, which is an incredibly important story. We're telling stories of righteous in Georgia, in Germany, and in other countries as well, and working with a spectrum of journalists to tell these stories.
I think it's also a great punchline for our viewers, and hopefully everyone who is interested to listen to the stories of righteous among the nation will go online to Foundation from the Depths and watch it. Thank you for watching Poland Daily Culture.
Behind me, the Pałac Podlachy here in Warsaw. This is the home of Prince Józef Poniatowski. His home, the place where he had his famous parties, also the War Office. Who was Józef Poniatowski? He was in fact a major figure in Polish history. Patriot, general, Minister of War, sometime Marshal of France. Join me in this episode of Poland Daily History, where we learn more about this remarkable Polish figure.
If I can just finish that sentence, because then we'll forget it. He was given a supervisor in the person of Marshal Davout, one of his best marshals, the one that was the author of the great victory of Auerstadt, which actually was more important for in defeating Prussia than Jena, but that's another topic. He was placed as a nanny, let's say, over Prince Joseph.
Make sure he didn't do anything untoward.
Yes, but Prince Joseph, and initially Davout was very skeptical about Prince Joseph, also because other generals who disliked Poniatowski, like Zajączek, for example, were intriguing against him. Yeah. But he soon realized that this guy is really good. I mean, that the ministry is functioning properly and so on and so on. That the army is, is raising in terms of numbers. And in, correct me if I'm wrong, late summer 1808, so 1 year after that, after the creation of the Duchy of Warsaw, he left Poland,
Yes.
leaving Prince Joseph
In charge.
do his work.
He demonstrated to the French he could be trusted.
He could be. And then, of course, the campaign of 1809 was a solid proof for Napoleon that this guy is really good, that he can be in charge of a army.
Could we say a few words about the 1809 campaign itself, where it took place, who Poniatowski was actually fighting?
Poniatowski was fighting an army, Austrian army that was around 30,000 men strong. Now, the Polish army was a bit weaker, so we were outnumbered, but there was a Saxon corps, auxiliary corps.
Right.
But these guys were unsure. No, Germans on one side, Germans on the other. Of course, there is no one German nation at that time,
Not at
but
that
still,
time, no, yes.
But still, I mean, these guys were untrustworthy, simply. Initially, when the Austrians entered Poland, the frontier was on the river Pilica.
Right.
And they marched very quickly, unstopped, until Russian. That's a small village next to Warsaw. Nowadays, outskirts of Warsaw.
Exactly, yes.
That's where two main roads leading to Warsaw are merging. One from Katowice,
yep,
and the other from Kraków.
Okay, yes.
And there is why this place? Not, for example, Janki, which is where you have IKEA nowadays. Why Russian? Because this place has a very narrow passage, easy to protect, and say swamps on the left and on the right,
which make it very difficult to move.
But easy to defend, and that's why he chose that place.
And he won, didn't he?
Again, the Austrians had more victims than the Polish side. But if we take the things classically and say that the winner is the one who captures the place, the Austrians were but with heavy losses and with bad morale, because they were prepared, they were expecting an easy victory,
and they didn't get it.
And they didn't get it. And in the aftermath, they entered Warsaw, which is very funny because when you look at the Polish press of that time, you see as in April 1809, immediately, overnight, the press that was published in Polish, now it's published in German, and of course very anti-Napoleonic in context.
Of course, yes. So after that, what happened next in that campaign?
And Prince Joseph, that was that was his idea, to leave Warsaw, abandon Warsaw, which was very risky, as we talked about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And to move because we are Warsaw, like the part of Warsaw, the historical part of Warsaw is on the left bank.
That's right.
Of the river. On the right bank, of course, nowadays it is Warsaw too, but at that time it was a small village, or maybe not small, but a village called Praga.
That's right.
So he moved to Praga to start his march to the heart of, before partitions that was Poland, but at that time it was already Austria, into the heart of Austria. So to counter, in a sense, to flank the Austrian army and to force the army that was already in Warsaw to
sort of follow him.
To follow him.
And was he successful?
And that was successful because the Austrians left Warsaw after a couple of weeks, didn't manage to stop Prince Joseph, who was successfully reconquering major Polish cities, Sandomierz, for example.
Yes.
And finally, and they even for a certain period of time they even entered Lviv, Lemberg.
They got as far as that.
And of course Krakow. So that was very successful. Something that was supposed to be an easy victory, a piece of cake for the Austrians, turned out
to be not
Polish
not quite as digestible as they'd hoped.
Exactly, not quite digestible. And it was also, I'm coming back to these psychological aspects, but it was very important for the young Polish army that was established only a year before, 2 years before, to have such a victory. I mean, it makes the spirit, esprit de corps.
And then shortly afterwards, Józef Poniatowski returned to Warsaw.
And then he returned to Warsaw.
Well, we heard earlier he started his main work as the Minister of Defense and generally preparing
a very big army for the upcoming war against Russia. I mean, we have to remember that this country was very small, even after the augmentation.
No, yes, compared to what it had been before.
It was only 4 million people.
Yeah.
And this society managed to produce, as it were, an army of 120,000-130,000 people. So it was an enormous effort.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another exciting edition of Poland Daily Travel. I feel like we're in a spaghetti western, and we're walking toward, down the main street of the old village. You'll see behind us the manor house, which we talked about in the last show here at the Museum of the Polish Countryside in Mazowsze. Yeah, it's a beautiful house, as anyone can see. It's a wonderful house. And but we're finished with the house for right now, and we're going.
And we are going to see the village.
Yeah, which has got farmhouses.
Yeah, that's right.
We're finished with that manor house. Yeah, we're going to see more houses.
More houses, and these are 10 farmhouses that we have here in our museum, and they differ from each other because they present different types of villagers, from the poorest people to the richest farmers. And we can also see, for example, the farm that belonged to a miller and many other farms.
A miller is a person who makes grain, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. What do people think about the Polish countryside today? You had some ideas about that.
That's a very interesting information that according to 2015 survey made by CBOS, so Polish Statistics National Governmental Company, 40% of Polish people find the ideal place to live the countryside, whereas only 18% of Polish people find the ideal place to live in the big cities or agglomerations.
Really?
And it's because of remote work. More and more people, on the contrary of global circulation, Polish people started to move to the countryside. At the moment, it's 40% of Polish people living in the countryside. And by 2049, it's going to be 45% of Polish people living in the countryside. Whereas in most places on planet Earth, We know this, we heard about this, that more and more people are living in big cities and agglomerations. So thanks to the fact that I can live wherever I want because I work throughout my computer and laptop, I prefer to see throughout my window, not a busy street and people honking over there. And I I prefer to see this.
You mean honking the horns on their cars?
For instance.
Okay.
And the nature, something that this is how it all started. We have a possibility to come back to our roots, and this is what Polish people are doing at the moment.
Yeah, okay. Well, that sounds interesting. You live in the countryside?
Not really. Sierpc is a small town, so...
Well, close to the countryside.
But it's close to the
But you live in the town. You don't live outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right. Well, let's go see some more of the countryside. In the distance, I see my friend, the goat. I like that goat.
With these big horns?
Oh, yeah. He's standing up and walking around now. Very exciting. Oh, well. Come on, let's go.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Poland Daily Travel. This series of episodes, we're traveling into the countryside and into the past. The town of Sierpc, 1.5 hours from Warsaw to the northwest. Here you will find the Museum of the Polish Countryside. We'll travel into the past to see what life was like 100, 200, 250 years ago in Poland. That is, in the Polish countryside. This living museum is set on 60 hectares. There's a manor house and all kinds of different farmhouses. You could easily spend a whole day here wandering through the past. That's what we did. The Polish word for these living history museums is skansen, and it's kind of a speciality of Polish culture. If you're heading from Warsaw, say, to Torun or to Gdansk, it's well worth stopping off, making a slight diversion. It's fun for kids of all ages. So let's take a walk through the Museum of the Polish Countryside in Mazowsza at Sierpc. We hope you like what you see, so like us on YouTube and subscribe. Poland Daily Travel.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. We're going now, just walking down to one of these farmhouses, right? Another one?
That's right. We are going to the farm that belonged to a quite wealthy farmer. The cottage that you can see here was moved to our museum from another village from the neighborhood of Sierpc.
Okay. And that's just in here. This cottage here?
That's right. The blue one.
And this was from the local area, but it was they do that a lot with these skansens. They move some of the older buildings to protect them, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I like blue.
Was it always blue? Or
I don't know why, but I like blue.
Was blue a popular color?
Not really, because it was quite expensive to paint your house blue, so quite wealthy or richer people could afford to paint their houses blue. But what's interesting, there are parts of Poland, some regions, where they painted their houses blue when they had a daughter, a girl that was ready to get married.
Oh, so they painted it blue because to advertise that their daughter was getting married.
Yeah.
And blue meaning blue or
blooming.
What?
Daughter.
No.
Ah, okay.
I was going to say something to stop with that. I was going to say something different. Blue being a sort of a royal, almost purple, like is a sort of color of money, or a sort of elegance, isn't it?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. But it's a funny blue, isn't it? Dude, it's almost like your shirt there, Arthur.
I like blue.
Yeah.
But I wonder, why was it expensive to paint it blue? It was difficult to get this ingredient?
Yeah, because it's a blue powder that was added to the white paint.
It's powder blue.
Yeah.
That's where I guess the color, the idea from. It's almost like the blue of the sky right now.
Yeah.
Which is a powder blue sky. Hey, come on, let's go. What's this over here? All right, so this is a pigeon house, you were saying.
That's right, it's a pigeon house.
Okay, and why do I have pigeons?
That's interesting because people in the past, in the 19th century, for example, they actually used to eat pigeons. They, for example, cooked pigeon soup.
Pigeon soup?
Yeah.
Why would anybody want to eat a pigeon soup?
Because
Is it a delicacy or something?
it was very good for the people who were sick. For example, they had a flu. It was
I never heard that the
kind of
pigeons
medicine, we can say.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, because I know why. Because if you give someone pigeon soup, then they want to be well really soon, so they don't have to eat it anymore.
Yeah.
It's probably the dead bird soup. Would you eat pigeon soup?
Oh, come on. English were eating squirrels, Germans were eating elephants, pigeons are pretty calm version of...
Germans were eating elephants? Okay. Whatever you say, Arthur. Okay, so this is a typical farm, right? All of these buildings belong to the Blue House.
That's right.
But it's not the manor house. These guys worked for the manor house.
That's right. They
More
were,
or less, yes?
That's right. They had
Okay.
to work for the manor house, or they worked in their own field.
Oh, they worked in their own field. And then here, this house is not so poor as a basic house, but still, it has a dirt floor in the kitchen.
That's
Why is
right.
that?
For safety reasons, because there is a stove, so it was
and
necessary.
it could catch on fire.
Yeah.
And I noticed there's a wooden floor in the bedroom,
Yeah.
right? And so that shows that it's of a nicer style and very clean and neat
And
in
very
that room. yeah.
decorative, that's
Yeah.
right.
What else can we say about this house? It's got a thatched roof.
That's right. It's
A roof
wooden,
of hay,
of course.
yeah, instead of the roof, the slate roof on the other house. All right, so this person would have been would have had some standing in the community. A person living here would have had his own seat in the chapel, maybe. The manor guy paid for the chapel.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So it's like that. All right.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, I see. And over here he kept, what would you keep in there? What does it say on that, on there, Arthur, on that door?
This is a very classical, simple Polish word, pszczelarstwo,
Okay.
which says that they were keeping what over there, Gosia?
They were keeping. They were keeping, for example, beehives inside because the owners were
Honey.
beekeepers.
Ah, this was a beekeeping place.
Yeah.
Right. Uh-huh. Sweet.
I like the sort of refrigerator in here
Yeah.
to keep the pigeons, see?
Oh, that's what this is? Let's walk over there. This was the refrigerator?
Yeah, kind of. It's a cellar.
It's a cellar.
That's right.
And it's got an earthen cover.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't open it up because it's locked.
Unfortunately, we can't.
What would you have kept in there? You have kept
Vegetables,
fruit,
pickles, fruit. of
apples,
course.
for example.
Apples,
you would
that's
keep
right.
in there.
Yeah.
Elephants, if you're
Wine.
German. Wine. And if you drank a lot of wine, you would see elephants. They might even be pink, right?
Oh.
Your German style there?
So you refer to the blue color of the house at the moment?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
No, blue, the color of your blood. Yeah. Okay, folks, stay with us. Poland Daily Travel. We're in the Museum of...
The Mazovian countryside.
Ah! With Gosia and with Arthur. Stay tuned. We'll be back with another episode. We're going to go further. What are we going to see next? More houses?
More houses.
Wow, cool. Okay. This was the bee house,
Yeah.
the beekeeper house.
The
right?
beekeeper house here, you can see some beehives.
Yeah, fantastic.
Behind the
Oh, yeah,
fence.
beehives are all over here?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, fantastic. Stay with us. We'll be back with another installment tomorrow.